Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Alt Kings podcast. I am your host, Corbin, with my co-host, Tate. And today we have on the most wholesome person on Hedera. This is Brandon of PixelRugs.
How's it going, guys? Good to finally meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Most definitely. All right, Brandon. So run us through the PixelRugs. What was your inspiration? What you doing with the project? What's all going on here?
Wow. Okay, so I'll give you the lowdown. I'll give you the whole story. So when I was in high school, I ran a 13-editor technology publication.
Wow.
Fell in love with technology. Ran that for years. Would go to the CES convention in Las Vegas and stuff like that. Little old me reporting. So that was really great. Got to meet Josh Topolsky from Engadget back in the day and all those kinds of things. So I really immersed myself in the technology scene and fell in love with it, learned web design, all those kinds of things, and eventually built a career out of that. Now I run a creative agency with my partner, Joshua. And even before all that in high school, I loved music. I did music. I sang, I played drums, I did all those things. So I was also more so an artist, right? Music, and especially rock and roll music, is a great way to fit in high school when you're kind of a bit of a nerd. So that helped a little bit. And through the years, now, I just turned 30 this year. And when PixelRug kind of came into the picture, I was in a position where I understood crypto. I understood the value of it, but I was kind of like, Bitcoin, Ethereum, because it wasn't really something that resonated with me in regards to the transaction times and fees and all those kinds of things. Someone in my network, an artist, said to me a while ago, it's not like anyone with a couple bucks can participate in NFTs. And that kind of bummed me out, and that kind of painted a picture for me. Looking back, yeah, probably would have been good to grab some Bitcoin or Ethereum, but I mean, hindsight's 2020. And then Swirls came along, and then Hedera came along. And I thought about that question again that artist said, which was, it's not like a couple bucks can get you into NFTs. Well, that's wrong now.
Yeah.
Minting all the PixelRugs cost me like $5. So for me, I know it's funny to think, I think I tweeted out from my personal Twitter a while ago, the amount of energy that it takes to send somebody a PixelRug NFT is less than it took to post this tweet. So for me, that was the big thing. So I had this, career. I had been, previously, a couple of years ago, in a touring rock and roll band as a drummer and a singer and all those kinds of things. So I was just full board in the artist mode, and I wanted to get back into technology. Hedera sucked me back in. Great community, but it was all this enterprise stuff, exciting still, but we didn't have the NFT ecosystem yet. And last year, 2021, and I guess maybe May, there was Go Mint. We started to see artwork pop up, and light bulbs started to go off inside my brain. I was like, is this maybe what I've been waiting for? But I didn't really want to just do an NFT project just for the sake of doing it, right? I wanted to do something that fit my sensibilities and pushed me a little bit as an artist. And so I was just watching this start to unfold and grow. And then I met projects like, HBAR, HGraph Punks, all of these guys, HBorgs, all of these, old school Batty Hatties, right? Back in, August, September of last year. And I just realized that I'm talking to artists. I'm not talking to technology people. I'm talking to artists right now. I mean, patches, but I mean, I think that's what really made me realize that these are the people that are participating in Hedera, some artists that it's just easy to get in.
Yeah.
And for me, I started really seriously thinking about what I wanted to mint. I had a bunch of horrific ideas that I'm happy I didn't do. But my business partner, Joshua, he does sound design for VR. He does, theater productions in VR, live music performances in VR, all those kinds of things. So he had been talking my ear off about metaverse stuff and everything like that. I'd played around with spatial. So I was starting to realize, okay, there's this other little world forming, and also augmented reality, putting things around you that aren't there. So that really got me excited. And I think it was like one night I was checking out a gallery or something like that. And I just was like, there's a whole untapped market in this metaverse. The floor.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. So I had just recently purchased a bunch of rugs for my dog. She had an issue with her back, so we had to get rugs so she wasn't slipping on the floor. And I don't know, I was like, okay, rugs. I was like, but how can I do something that fits the current like aesthetic? I was like, pixel artwork. I did a bunch of that in high school. So I was like, let me dust off my old, pixel pushing brain. I will pick up some knowledge in regards to 3D modeling to make some of these rugs, some of these pixel rugs. And of course I thought like, is rug the best name for an NFT project? And I was like, it could be kind of cute. So I was like, let's do it. PixelRug. So I opened the Twitter account. I started, fiddling around with some pixel rugs. And that was launched the Twitter account November last year. And learned a whole lot. And I mean, really, a lot of those original folks in the Hedera NFT space taught me a lot, were a huge support, introduced me to how to do things. And I had already been hosting like weekly news shows and, conversations like you guys do here, just about like the more boring, like enterprise stuff. So I was kind of already in the community, and I launched the project. I was completely overwhelmed with the response because what I did was I kind of played a little bit of a trick. I just posted JPEGs of PixelRugs. And I was like, let me let people think this is just going to be images. And then I'll do a big reveal that it's a 3D, NFT. And it was one of the first 3D NFTs on Hedera. I think one of the first ones was Hash Crabs that Parabolic HBAR did. I think those were one of the first ones on GoMint. Mm-hmm. But I did the PixelRugs, minted them with the exact CLI, shout out, rest in peace. And basically, I think that was a big turning point for me as an artist. I found a new medium. It was something I completely didn't expect. I was overwhelmed by the response. And then I did the first edition series that sold out, did the limited edition series that sold out. And then it brings us to today, which is I'm going to be doing commission artwork for NFTs, making low resolution metaverse rugs for your floor. Never thought I'd get here.
It's a great idea though, because it's all custom.
Yeah.
All personalized to the buyer.
Yeah. That's something that I think for me, when, flashing forward to today with the custom series, what I realized is I didn't want to go too deep with the project. I didn't want to start talking about utility or just do things for the sake of doing them. I arguably took a little bit of an old school approach because I had to, because all of the tooling and marketplaces that started booting up, early this year were really for one-on-one projects. PixelRug has like varying designs with varying quantities, and it's 3D artwork. So it didn't really jive with a lot of those. I had to build a lot of the stuff myself. And I listened to collectors, and what I realized was the number one piece of feedback that I did from a survey in June, I think it was, asking people to like rate the project and give me feedback, tear it apart. What would you do if you were running the project? Really overwhelmingly positive. But the number one thing people told me was they want one-on-one designs, and they have cool ideas for designs. I mean, every project I love on Hedera has reached out to me wanting to make a pixel rug. And tons of people go, oh, can you make this design? Oh, can you make that design? I've never been DM'd pictures of rugs before. So that's a new one. And what I realized is this seems like the solution for this problem really is commission artwork. People need commission artwork, and they want to work with me to make some things. So what I set out to do is try to innovate in this space a little bit, again, going a little bit old school and say, listen, you can connect with me, we can have a conversation, and I'll just make a rug for you, not just a design, but like, what do you call it? Do you throw anything cool in the metadata descriptions or whatever? Like, we can work together, and that's a true collaboration with a collector or a project, and it's a true one of one. And when you see one of those out in the wild or in a marketplace, I just thought how cool it'd be if you just kind of know there's a story behind it. It was made for somebody. And that felt a little bit fresh in the ecosystem. Of course, I can't make a ton really quickly. It's not going to be a 10,000 one-on-one NFT collection. But the unique thing is it's just going to continue through the life of the whole PixelRug project.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll be 50 years old, making a PixelRug in my garage or something. Who knows?
Now you'll be making a pixel desk that goes on top of the rug.
We'll continue to innovate. I'll have to make a note of that real quick. There we go.
You just make a whole entire pixel appliance company.
No. He's going to be the creator of IKEA, but for the metaverse.
Yeah.
You're going to have to assemble the whole thing from your VR headset and hope you follow the instructions.
Oh, that would be interesting. The master of inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Look out.
Wow. Yeah, look out. Look out.
Hide your kids, hide your wife.
Hide your rugs.
Hide your rugs.
Brandon, what do you do for a living besides obviously create beautiful pixel rugs?
Well, what I do is actually, it serves me really well working on a project like this because I kind of do for a living since high school what I'm doing now, which is like building a community, building a brand, doing creative things. Early in my career, I would work with companies like Squarespace or, different brands like that to do promotional videos for product releases, all those kinds of things. Sitting in my, grade 12 tech class or whatever. And going on from that, I was writing probably 11 articles a day. So I was a, really prolific writer for technology. So and also too, running a blog, like learning web design and everything like that, exiting high school, entering my early 20s, it was music, it was technology, it was web design, it was art, it was writing. So I really had this skill set that I could pull from. And I went on to work at a branding agency in a little city, Barrie, Ontario. And that's where I learned the concepts of branding and how to brand larger companies. And all those kinds of things. Worked also with a lot of small businesses. So I learned how to work with clients, do all those kinds of things, all those different dynamics. So when you look at it in the context of a custom pixel rug, I've been doing that for 10 years, right? Working with somebody to create something and, then getting feedback and navigating those client dynamics. And then, ongoing, working with, companies in Toronto, Canada. Now, for the last couple of years, I've actually been running my own creative agency with my business partner, Joshua. And we work now with some Web3 companies. So we pivoted to Web3. So a lot of those folks are in Hedera and are really privileged to be working with the HBAR Foundation too. A lot of our clients are. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've kind of just been doing this my whole career, basically. And so PixelRug is just, for me, like a really natural extension. When I look at the community building aspect, my brain goes to building a band, right? And a band is really hard because if you want 1,000 fans, you have to meet 1,000 people. You have to go play sweaty gigs at bars and go to conventions at 8 a.m. and all those kinds of things. So I've just... The PixelRug stuff and the way I do things, I've kind of just been doing it my whole life. So it just feels super natural. And with my workflow, how I work, it just fits right in. So it kind of blurs all together. It feels the same.
That's amazing. Everything that you've done growing up all the way through your 20s and stuff has basically led you to this in a sense.
Yeah, if you want to say that. Going back, if I were to speak to my younger self and say, listen, everything that you're doing, everything that you are will ultimately lead to designing PixelRugs, I would say,
you're out of your mind.
You're insane.
Yeah.
But I couldn't be more happy.
Exactly.
I didn't realize
that's all that truly matters
to,
is your happiness at the end of the day.
Yeah.
That's great.
I couldn't agree more.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you go.
Okay. Yeah, it's cool just to see like all of these projects popping up that are so focused on the metaverse aspect of things. So, for instance, your rugs, obviously, and then we have Slim out here with Slim and Maui out here with Tokamex, making metaverse watches. Great idea. Like just all of these just random things that like you just don't think about. And then you have Felix from Crypto Dogs. He's making a whole line of like 3D dogs that he wants to actually like make into like a game. I don't know what you're going to do in the game, but
My Sims
that's awesome.
He's a smart guy. Does everything in Unreal Engine. So it's
Oh yeah, that's right. The recent ones weren't they like Unreal 5 or something? I grabbed one of those. It looks beautiful.
Yep, me too, man. Yeah, I grabbed one too. But yeah, it's cool to see all these projects popping up because it's very well needed. And if everybody has like a niche that they love creating, ultimately that's going to make the metaverse better for everyone.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Just doing what you love, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, for me, another big thing is so many of these creators, as you pointed out, have been around for a long time. I think it's so important as well that we kind of, like, it sounds dumb because it's been less than a year, but like we carry on that history a little bit of the Hedera NFT space because a big piece of feedback that I hear talking with people in the NFT ecosystem on Hedera or new people arriving just now, they love the technology and that's why they check it out. But once they get here, they don't really talk about that. They're kind of like, oh, the community is so different here. And the vibe is, you know, and I think it's really important to just stay grounded in, you know, the reality, which is all of these original projects started in an era where if you wanted an NFT, you were like in Twitter DMs, like sending people HBAR, like literally the exact opposite of what NFTs are about. It was a huge problem, but only a problem Hedera could have because the transaction speeds were so fast and the fees were so low. And it really created this like social graph of trust with these original community members that I think it's awesome. We don't need that anymore, that we have marketplaces like Zeus and Hash Guild and Hash Access. But I think that that seed ultimately is what carries through. So I think that that's when people ask, like, why is the Hedera NFT ecosystem so different? I think that's why, is because a lot of these original folks in the community have that reference point of like, yeah, we're pretty spoiled now because before, remember like 3 months when we couldn't do anything with our NFTs and all those kinds of stuff. So I think it's also important. I know the dark ages.
Yeah, the dark winter.
And the rug, like the actual projects that aren't like quality and stick up to their words, and I hate to say it, like who actually like rug their communities, who like invest into them, they're called out.
That's offensive.
They're called. I know it's offensive. They're called out on the spot, and everybody knows who they are initially, and they're not going to be able to hide behind behind the blinds for too long because the community is so strong that everybody's connected and everybody will figure out eventually. Rather than if you go on to E, you find a rugged project and it's just like.
That's the third one today.
Yeah, exactly. It's the third one today.
I think something important to keep in mind when we talk about, you know, projects that rug, you know, being expert on rugs myself, what I'll say is it really is a spectrum, right? You've got, on one hand, you've got like the greatest projects. Yeah. Now, on the other hand, you've got projects that rug. But you have all this spectrum in the middle of maybe a project that just kind of putters out, or that just suffers from HBAR dropping 90%, or just overwhelms themselves with this roadmap that they haven't thought through and can't handle, or working with somebody who's disingenuous. Like, for example, there might be a Hedera NFT project that you go, oh, their artwork is from Fiverr. But maybe the creator like just didn't realize that the person they hired to do it just ended up buying stuff on Fiverr or something. So it's one of those situations where I think that something I try to keep in mind when I see these situations unfold is, you know, when you see a project, what's the word? I used it the other day and it's just leaving me. We can edit this out. Give me a minute.
Maybe I should leave it in for dramatic effect.
If you could add like some like dramatic music there. It's deception that I think is in the middle of a rug and a great project.
Sure.
Sometimes I see some projects where I go, maybe they chose to leave out that their artwork came from a certain place because they knew it would affect the success of the project. Maybe they just kind of omitted that. And I think that what a lot of people feel in certain situations, it's not necessarily that they feel scammed or that it was a rug. I think what they're actually feeling sometimes is a little bit deceived.
Yeah.
And I think projects can come back from that. But again, it comes back to the discussion around transparency about, so are you proud of what you're making? Can you be fully transparent in that? Because if you can't, then you might have to rethink a couple of things that you're doing, because you might inadvertently be deceiving people. It may not feel that way to you. It might feel like you're making some careful choices for your brand, but you may actually just be deceiving people by omitting certain things. So I have seen a couple projects get in that laneway a little bit. And I wouldn't classify those as rugs, because I think you can come back from stuff like that. But I do think that, there definitely needs to be a discussion around how much projects expect from their collectors, how much collectors expect from projects, and then how much projects expect from themselves. I think there has to be a balance. I think that you can grow too quickly. I think that you can lose sight of what your core goal is. I mean, if you're there's goals of like selling out as fast as possible, or getting as many people in the Discord as possible, or getting as many followers on Twitter as possible. But you go a little deeper, and maybe it's just about connection, right? Maybe it's about, what does this project look like in 5 years? And for me, working with a lot of bands in the studio and different stuff like that, and seeing bands evolve, I've realized that in the art scene, it's like more important what you don't do than what you do, right?
Yeah. Because what you don't do kind of, in a sense, set you up for the things that you have done. Exactly.
Like with a project, you really want to do things that solve problems for collectors, right? You're by existing, you're going to create problems for people. They're going to get your project and they're going to go, oh, I wish it did this, or, and you kind of have to ignore all the negative feedback, ignore all the positive feedback, because those will, mess you up. You want to pay attention to things that are repeated. If people are saying the same thing over and over again, focus on that and go, okay, can we do something to solve this problem for people? Because that'll literally just make the project better and people will love it. And 9 times out of 10, it's actually super duper simple, rather than like building out some crazy utility or something.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Yeah, it kind of reminds me of, this was, I think, like months ago. Felix was actually saying, he's like, he was like joking around. He's like, yeah, man, I'm gonna rug, whatever, yeah. And then he was like, yeah, I'm actually gonna rug. So peace out, guys. And then Chris, Irate was like, and like a couple other people were like, no, please don't go.
Oh my God.
We all like convinced him to stay. And then his wife actually came up with the idea for him to make like these like crystal like rock formations in Unreal Engine. And I feel like a lot of artists in the space, like they get so caught up in like one particular niche that they're known for, and they just need to branch out from it.
Yeah,
because you've been making the same thing for months and months and months, and it's kind of like the same thing that I wonder, like with Bones, for instance, because he's been making the helmets for so long.
Yeah,
that now he's making these little like skeleton people, was unknown bone project, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that would really help with creative burnout and really help give you like a new fire.
Yeah, that's a huge thing. That's a huge thing in music, right? That's the world I come from. Is you have this balance, right? You want to be doing things you love, but also when you see that band, they're going to play the hot single from 10 years ago at the concert. They're not going to not play it. It's what you're there for. But they're probably sick and tired of playing it for the 40,000th time. So it's a balance of like, not everything is fun all the time. Sometimes it's literally just work. I mean, in music, it's like a show business. It's like a show and then there's business. And usually the business aspect is a little bit bigger. And same thing with NFTs. And not everything you do is going to be a winner. I mean, you have to double down on your winners. And if people love HBAR helmets, you're going to make HBAR helmets because people really enjoy those. And you're going to innovate as much as you can with those. And again, solve problems for creators. If you want more from them, what are those things? How can you do that? But Bones is really smart because when you reach that saturation on a certain art style and people still really enjoy it, you don't need to completely drive that home. You can take a little bit of a detour and say, okay, could I maybe try something else with the expectation that it might really succeed? It might really fail. I don't know, but I could find something else that's really interesting to do. So I think it's that balance. It's like, do things that excite you and that you enjoy, but also understand that you're kind of like the band that, you're going to play that show in 10 years and you're going to have to play that single you're sick and tired of that you hate, that everyone wants to hear, so it is a balance.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense to me.
That example you just provided kind of just reminded me of. So I just went to Rolling Loud, the most recent one down in Miami, and Kid. I don't know if you guys know, but Kid Cudi got basically booed off stage, and he got like water bottles thrown at him and stuff, and it's kind of funny that you say that. Like, he probably was sick and tired of playing his two best hits. That if he would have played those two best hits, the whole stage, like crowd would have just went berserk.
Yeah.
In a sense. But he came out with some slow song and nobody knew it, and he basically, like I said, got booed off stage. And it's just kind of a correlation to what you said. Like, if he would have just came out playing something that he's played like for years on end, the turnout would have been 10 times better and everything would have went accordingly. But it was just crazy to see that he didn't even, I don't know. It was just like, my idea of it was, if he would have came out playing either Pursuit of Happiness or one of his other songs, well, maybe that, but there was Day and Night. Pursuit of Happiness or Day and Night. If he would have came out playing either of those songs, then the whole crowd would have gone crazy. But he came out playing some song that nobody knew and everybody hated it.
Well, and that's a great example of why connection in artwork is so important. As an artist, all we're trying to do is be understood. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
A great way to be understood is do something different than everybody else, right? Because that means that you kind of got your own voice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, generally when you have a moment like that, it's just that lack of connection, that lack of understanding. You don't have that common ground.
Of course.
You lose that. Yeah. And then obviously you get water bottles thrown at you. I mean, luckily that doesn't happen with NFTs because you can't throw water bottles through the internet. So
no.
Hoping that technology isn't developed soon, but that's generally what happens. And I always keep that in mind. That's why I do, a lot of feedback from collectors. I listen to people. I really am, like, as things are growing, I'm more focused on not talking too much myself and just listening to what PixelRug holders are thinking about, what they're interested in. Because a decision I made early on that I think maybe disappointed some people, but I'm happy I did it, was limiting the amount of PixelRugs people could mint. So, I mean, rather than sell out really quickly, I limited it to one of each design per person, and that was it initially. Later on, I opened it up so you could mint a second round and stuff like that. But new people were joining the Hedera ecosystem all the time. And I was like, I want them to be able to get here and still get a classic PixelRug for 60 HBAR. That's a great thing to be able to do. And that's not going to happen if, 20 people own all the PixelRugs. Yeah. So I think through doing that, I have a really, I think there's over, like 350 holders of PixelRug. So that's 350 people that I can listen to that all come from different backgrounds all over the world. And I can start to find commonalities of, they seem to all kind of dig this kind of thing. So that's something I could step into that they're already kind of on the same page about. And again, one of those things was they all love one-of-one artwork, of course, but they all have ideas for PixelRug. So I could step into that conversation, bring something new, and create that connection and be like, Kendrick going up on stage and, playing the hit, instead of just coming up with something that I love.
Yeah, of course. It's all about listening. Yeah. You got to listen to your customer at the end of the day. Not even a customer, your community.
But it is. It's kind of embarrassing, but I mean, there's a message that I've received a few times. One, another thing when I was doing PixelRugs is it was a manual process. We didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now. So I developed a whole CRM, which is like a customer relations manager system for managing orders and manually sending them out and talking to people through email, helping them set up Hashpack, all those kinds of things. And people would be like, "Are you in customer service?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, I probably sound so lame right now." But then I realized, like, I kind of am. Like, I guess I am in customer service because, like, you're buying something from me and I need to, like, help you with some stuff. Yeah. So I realized that, like, wow, there is a customer service angle to this. Like, if you purchase a product from somebody, you kind of want to get that customer service a little bit, have a good experience. So with that mentality, I was fortunate to, like, literally all 350 collectors have a conversation with each of them and, like, help them get on their way. And for a lot of people, it was their first Hedera NFT or their first 3D metaverse NFT. So that's something I'm really, really proud of about the project.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And soon it'll be one of one customs. That
Yeah, I know. I'm excited about that too.
Yeah, that'll be amazing.
Have people already started reaching out to you and being like, "Yo, look at this wacky rug that I want. Can you do like a custom one of this one?"
Oh, they've been doing that for months. I've received people that have sent me this. I typed this into DALL-E generator AI artwork, and this is the PixelRug that it put out, and I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So there is some interesting stuff, but something that I guess a lot of people don't know, and another aspect to the project really as a whole is the super rug holder aspect and the coupon aspect. So with super rug holders, those are people that hold 3 or more PixelRugs, and I created that type of holder in Discord, created a token gate for those folks, and we've had a private channel we've been talking in. So those folks are going to be the only people that can submit to the waitlist for the first generation of custom PixelRugs. So it's a small pool; it's 50 people, and I've already been talking with them about this since the beginning of August. So that was a big focus of mine, is I wanted to make sure that those people that really were only going to be the people that would be able to get custom series out the gate were a part of that conversation, were able to give me feedback, and I could unfold all the different elements and let them digest it. And only when they were fully on board and they understood everything, then I had a really great way to announce it publicly. So everyone knew. But the other element is the coupon aspect, because I was like, well, how do I give people access to a custom series PixelRug? And also, give a little bit extra to people that are already holding, besides just being able to get one. So all the PixelRug designs, there's 15 designs out there right now across the first and limited edition series. And each of them, according to their rarity, have a percentage assigned to them that acts kind of like a coupon. So right now, to get a custom series, of course, you need 3 PixelRugs to get one. Yeah. But they're all coupons. So let's say you have a classic, which has 2% assigned to it, a purple punk, which I think has like 35% discount, and a midnight, which has 3%. So you give those 3, the percentages get added up, and then you get X% off your custom series. So I don't want to use the word utility, but that's why I call it a coupon, because it's just a little extra thing that brings PixelRugs alive in a little way, makes them do something. And once I get through this first generation, because really it's about understanding what the workflow is, what the experience is, what the process of making a first edition or a custom edition series is. Once I get through that over the next few months, I'll definitely open it up to the rest of holders. So that way, anyone that's holding at least one PixelRug can use just one PixelRug to, join the waitlist for a custom edition series and use up to 3 other PixelRugs for that coupon aspect, which is really, really cool. So it's kind of those 3 things that are coming together to make this happen. And I think that in general, most people will start to understand what it's about. But I mean, super rug holders are totally tuned in. They're ready for the wait list. So I think I'll have a busy rest of the year. I can say.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think it's safe to say you're the only project where people are excited for rugs.
It's funny. I mean, I'm surprised at how far the meme has gone. People are like, I remember people purchasing their first edition series back in 2021 and tweeting out like, I've been rugged, or like rug me, or all these kinds of things. So it has turned into a little bit of a meme, and it's kind of gotten in my head a little bit too, because I'll be in a Twitter spaces where someone's up there talking about rugs, and I'm like, it just does something funny to my brain where I'm just kind of like, oh, I should get up there. So sometimes I'll pop up and be like, someone said rug, and like everyone laughs, and then I go to dinner or something. So
there's always a joke somewhere
awesome,
for it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you're running with the memes too, because there's so many opportunities.
Yeah, truly.
I feel like somebody's gonna make a custom rug me daddy.
I don't know what people are gonna make, but we'll see.
Dude, people are crazy, man. People are crazy.
Yeah, honestly though, they're insane, but we love them.
They are.
True. Well, cool. You got any other questions?
Honestly, not off the top of my head. You've pretty much answered everything, and it's been a true pleasure to finally meet you, actually. Because, I mean, every time we have a creator on, it's always awesome to be able to actually see their face and actually talk to them. And like,
Tate, how does it feel
absolutely.
to meet the most wholesome man on Hedera?
I know.
I hope you know that this is a very rare opportunity.
I've talked to him in a space or two, I believe, through the Alt Kings.
Yeah, we've been on
Twitter
spaces
account.
before.
Yeah,
We've
yeah.
probably been on all sorts of Twitter spaces. We've bumped into each other.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, and I mean, like, it's awesome that you're able to, make those videos on your Twitter account so people in the whole entire community as well can see your face, which is great.
That's an important thing to me. I mean, I don't think that being doxxed is necessary to have a great project.
But it
I
helps.
think that it's just about reputation.
Yeah.
It helps.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that it's not like you do it because for the I'm doxxed, I'm a real person. I mean, there are plenty of doxxed people that cause problems in NFT ecosystems, right? But for me, it's just, again, it's something that I don't know how to do any different. I was in a band. Like, when you're in a band, you're posting Instagram stories from the road, like, hey, we're going to play at Joe Shit the Ragman's pub or come out, or whatever. So it's like, so I've just always just been doing that. So I'm really comfortable, in interviews and posting videos to the internet. So it's just like, that's kind of a tool in my toolbox that I rely on heavily, is like, I'm just going to talk on a video and explain things to people. So I've just been doing it forever. So I didn't really think of that kind of doxed versus undoxed aspect initially, but now, I kind of get it. But
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many incredible creators on Hedera that aren't doxed, that, you completely trust because there's a reputation. There's, moments where you actually speak with them. And for me also too, it's like, when they really help you, like a great example is back in November when I was setting up the Discord for PixelRug. One of the first creators to reach out to me completely out of the blue was Patches, just saying, hey, FYI, make sure you send your new joining notifications to a separate channel so it doesn't clog up your main channel, and giving me a couple tips, just totally unprompted. Hadn't even minted yet, didn't even know the guy. And I was just like, wow. Okay. And so when you really focus on creating those types of moments, that's when that magic kind of happens. And it doesn't matter if you're doxed or undoxed. What really matters is you have to think carefully about what you want from the community for your project, and then do those things for other projects. Show
Very
people
true.
how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So if you want to be understood, if you want to sell out, if you want to get a bunch of Twitter followers, if you want people to, love your project, just do those things for other people, right? Listen, join their Twitter spaces, share their stuff, hop in on their project. Just do those things for other people, and you'll start to find that trust gets built, and that you start to naturally find an audience that is receptive because you kind of started doing things for them. So they go, hey, I'll return the favor,
Yeah. Without a doubt.
Makes sense, man.
It's a beautiful community out there.
Amazing.
And I love hearing the stories of people's first interaction with Patches.
Oh my God.
It's always
Legend.
a good time. Always
Legend.
a good time.
I have not seen an excitement. I think that the photo of Patches that was posted got more traction than any NFT drop. It was just like everyone was
sold it as an
freaking
NFT.
out. They did?
No, he should have.
Did
Did they? Oh, that would be hilarious.
You should make a rug of his face.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know. I mean,
Copyright
hey,
claims.
Patches, if that's, maybe he's going to get a custom series. I mean, if he requests a custom series with his face on it, you got it.
He takes like 10 selfies.
Awesome.
That's great.
Gotta get all the angles.
Yeah.
Gotta make sure
I
you
gotta
get back
I gotta grab my hat real quick. Hold on.
Hey.
Now he's official.
I was going to wear
There
my
we go.
XRP hat.
Now I'm part of the crew before we sign off.
There we go.
I felt
Now
like the
you're
odd
official.
man out. I know. Actually, this hat isn't actually like a genuine Hedera hat. Josh, my business partner, made this for me on my birthday
That's amazing.
last year. Yeah, so this is a very special
Cool.
one. I have the one Hedera sent me in my closet. I'm not going to wear that. I'm crossing my fingers. It'll be like a rare Pokemon card in 20 years or something.
It'd be worth like 20 grand, like a Charizard.
Absolutely. Hopefully.
Nice.
Well, Brandon, it's truly been a pleasure to have you on our podcast. And we look forward to everything that PixelRug has to offer in this near future, because we know you'll be around forever now.
I'm going to have custom series to make, so I'm not going to be able to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And it was a pleasure meeting you guys. I mean, I loved watching your podcast. I mean, I listened to the HBAR episode. I think that was one of your first ones.
Yeah, it was like that. I think like the fourth or fifth.
If you made it to the end, you're a real OG.
Yeah.
Yes. I remember I was working, I was listening, and I was like, right on, like, because HBAR is such a great guy. So
love him to death. Love Bones.
Love what you guys are doing. This is the kind of thing that's needed. Like, if we want to talk about building trust and connecting people, long form discussion is the best way to do that, right?
Yeah.
Hearing people talk about things, exploring what people's opinions are and ideas they have about things. Because someone could listen to this interview, find something cool in it, and put it in their project.
Yeah. Or somebody could listen to this interview a year from now and realize how far this creator has came. Or
hear me blabbing and whining on about buying HBAR NFTs and Twitter DMs and be like, oh wow, that's a crazy history.
Yeah,
we've come a long way.
Yeah, and from that, like, you're selling rugs now, but who knows? You might be selling cabinets later.
Who knows?
Tables,
and then
chairs.
later I'll be refinishing the cabinets. Come full circle.
Well, Brandon, it's been a pleasure. And with that being said, this has been the Alt Kings, and we will see you next episode. Bye.